victories we've ever seen in a 15-minute game.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. So it happens sometimes. So they looked pretty good, and landing phase, the draft maybe a little bit, whatever you want to call it. C1K just simply did not come together that nicely for them. So
Right.
we'll see though. Best of the 3 series, game number 2, Trelf. Here we are.
Yep. And they're actually already past the blind band, so.
I think it is time to jump in. Well, let's go ahead and jump into the game, as again they are ready to go. Obviously, for both these teams, I think it's just safe to say, you know what? Let's just move on. Let's just get into the next game, specifically for Quali Karma, and kind of just forget about that very recent past. Beef actually brought up a good point in between the games right there, as in a Skype chat. But anyways, he was saying how Quali Karma is actually 12th overall in the Han Tour standings right now. And YOLO, Scar, shit happens, whatever. They're actually ranked 11.
Yeah.
So these are the 11th and 12th place teams according to the standings in Han Tour right now. So kind of an interesting thing. Again, so that right there would kind of show that these are evenly matched teams, kind of. But game 1, not so much evenly matched. But
yeah, interesting thing about the blind bands is that Scar ran both Parasite and Jerizaya in their lineup last game, and they actually banned out both of them in the blind banning phase. So they realize that positioning does matter, or like first and second position does matter as far as the drafting goes, and they want to be in a position to not get cheesed by, or I can't say cheesed, but just outplayed by Parasite and Jerizaya.
yeah.
So they don't want to deal with that, even though they just ran it last game.
You don't like the cheese term?
No, I don't like the cheese term. I think you have to have a really set lineup where it blows everyone's mind, and then you just don't even know what happened to call it cheese. Just like 5 running up mid and it being successful. Like, that would be a cheese.
Yeah, it's
strategy.
like a how do you deal with this
Yeah.
strategy. It's what would it be like for me. So, yeah, I don't think that ever really happens. But
I would
anyways,
consider Kongor kind of cheesy.
level 1 Kong.
Yeah, I would consider
Yeah.
that pretty cheesy.
Yeah, it is. That is one of those things where every now and then it will happen, and it's like,
You know why? Because it's something that Hellborn can do that Legion. Okay, I've actually done it on Legion before,
Yeah.
but it's nearly impossible.
it's very difficult. Yeah, the chances of you getting spotted for one is a lot higher.
Yeah, and if you do get spotted,
That's true.
you're dead because you're on this other side of the map.
Yeah,
So, yeah, I would consider level 1 Kongor pretty cheesy.
but if you're Legion, you get the first pick.
What do you mean?
You get first pick and lock pick and everything else. I mean, that's important. So both sides have their advantages.
Oh, you're talking about.
I'm just
comparing
talking about
sides.
overall sides, yeah.
Okay, I was like talking about. All right.
and disadvantages. Because you mentioned Hellborn has it a lot easier for level 1 Kong or whatnot, but
Yeah, but in lockpick, I feel like first pick doesn't really matter anymore because people have found good strategies of Hellborn. Of if you're gonna first pick this, well, I'm gonna also lock 2 amazing heroes as well. So I get 2, you get 1, sort of thing.
yeah.
Now it's not necessarily always the case right there, but it's not as big of a deal I think as people made it out to be, myself included, right when lockpick was introduced.
All right. Anyways, about this game here, we got the blind band phase, the Parasite Jerizaya. We talked about Ophelia Wild, so the response was C1K. Of course, Keeper, the Force left open. Now, Tempest was the first lock, however, but Keeper and Aluna are the responses here from Quali Karma. Glacius Revenant, I know you like seeing that trail. Not the chance of him being picked up, though. Might not be the greatest, but we'll see. And then Pharaoh, the final lock, actually coming out right here. Tundra, Silhouette, and then Plague Rider. So far is how the banning phase is playing out. So it's kind of just caught up real quickly as far as where this game currently stands. But yeah, fun seeing a Revenant in there. But again, with that pool especially, I don't know there's a high chance of him being picked up. But it's cool seeing him locked, I guess, at least.
Yeah, I wonder if Joel just, of course, with locking Tempest first, and maybe he has the idea that he wants to pick Keeper instead, and gives himself another option to have another counter to that Tempest ultimate. And so he does. I was wondering at first, I'm like, if you're going to first lock the Tempest, why would you also lock the Pharaoh, something that's a very strong counter to that? No, you know what? The Pharaoh lock, no, I'm sorry, I'm
That
stupid.
was C1K,
That was
yeah.
C1K. Okay. Well, then disregard everything I just said because I'm an idiot. But that also might be even more reason to pick up that Keeper of the Forest if you're Scar.
Yeah. And then response with C1K could be something like that. Pharaoh, Tempest. But, of course, the Glacius and Aluna, especially in that lock pool, you really got to keep that in mind as far as the support option. So is Engineer banned with that said? No, he's not yet, actually. So far, the bans, again, Tundra, Silhouette, Plague Rider, Moon Queen, and Draconis. So Quali Karma going to wrap things up here. And, again, if Engineer doesn't end up getting banned, I could see him being valued decently here as a earlier round pick to go with. We'll see, though. As Zephyr is actually going to be the final ban, so
Yeah, I would agree with you. Either him or I would say Pebbles, because Engineer is so strong in the laning phase, paired up with another stunner. And
You got Fade is also left open. It is going to be Pebbles. Ooh, Fade Engineer. Speaking of that.
yeah,
Could be a powerful combination to go here, and how about that? The Jellyfish agree. So, good start here for Call It Karma. Back over to our Legion side, though, with the Pebble strong first pick, of course. You got to figure, again, that Keeper is probably going to happen here. Now, whether or not he is going to be the Suicide or the Jungle option is yet to be exactly known. Can definitely see with the final couple of picks here how that is determined, but...
right now they have to decide if they want to pick up a different support or rely on getting either Glacius and a Luna and out of the lockpick phase. So if that's the case, then you need to secure your other lane. So you need to get a solo short and then a Suicide as well. Of course, if you're assuming that you're going to pick up the Keeper of the Forest or the Tempest and run them in the jungle, not as a Suicide. So it's either pick a support here and then rely on either Revenant or Pharaoh as your long lane or short lane, or pick up a short lane plus another support here, I think. Now, obviously, Nymph4 is amazing with Pebbles. And so they go with their long lane and what's probably going to be part of their short lane. And with Bubbles and Magebane.
Yeah, going the Magebane pickup. Again, a hero, he really just died on the competitive scene. We've seen him maybe once or twice, a couple of times splash here or there, but hasn't been picked up lately a whole lot. So gonna be seeing him here this game around though. For Scar as they're tagged up. But
interesting too that he picked him into the Fade.
Yeah, that's when we did see Magebane a lot. Fade was definitely considered a hard counter hit. That's a great point. Simply because of that Burning Shadows, how the illusion does propagate the mana burn. Yeah. And it owns Magebane himself. So, Engineer is going to be, Darklead is going to be the final pick. There's the Keeper pick out of the lock pool. No surprise there. I'm guessing Tempest Pharaoh as the final picks. That's what led me to believe the Fade Engineer, at least initially. And sure enough, okay, so it is going to finish off with Tempest Pharaoh, and now probably Glacius or Luna, or maybe the Revenant support. They feeling that, but...
yeah, I would definitely go for a Luna here. It's going to give you a strong lane. Well, I mean, Glacius would be strong as well. But I think the spam ability of a Luna is a little bit stronger, against Tempest pushes. And just it's a little bit more of a consistent hero in general, I feel. Glacius is very strong in the laning phase, though, especially up with Pebble, so he would have worked too. But a Luna is fine here.
Okay, so going back to that point, though, you talked about, with they picked Magebane into Fade. Again, the reason why we're saying that is because the Burning Shadows from Fade, it propagates the mana burn from Magebane, and it does a lot of damage to himself as well as burns his own mana. So, we even have seen Magebanes in the past not go Mana Combustion because of that, if the matchup happens to be in the laning phase. So, yeah, do you really think that could be a big impact this game?
I think it very well could, yeah, absolutely. And if you're thinking about a short, I'm assuming Magebane's going to go in the short lane. Now, they might do something where they long lane Magebane with a Luna and then... thinking it's going up against the Dark Lady, and then I don't know. They have options, but the most likely scenario is that you see Magebane in the short lane, and hopefully with pooled reach, and if that's what they do. But the dual lane mid versus dual lane mid, if that is the case, Fade Engineer versus Pebbles or Luna. Fade Engineer is pretty damn strong. You get a stun out onto a Luna, you push him back with the keg. If you have level 2, the turret's going to slow him as well as do lots of damage, and then the Coal to give some damage and mana burn. It's a very, very strong lane. So I do give the edge to them. I actually really, really like Call It Karma's lineup here.
Yeah. Yeah, again, they're coming off what was a pretty horrible game on their part, let's be honest. In game number 1, a very quick game, ended up being a 15-minute concede where it just got way out of hand. So they're trying to recover here in game 2 and force that third and final game. I will also say it's been a long time since we've seen a Magebane Dark Lady matchup as far as go-to carry options. That used to be, especially when Complexity was so dominant, Dark Lady versus Magebane seemed like it was a very popular go-to matchup of the carries. Not lately, though. Not lately, specifically because of the Magebane, but even Dark Lady herself, we've talked about that. She, too, has kind of dropped off a little bit as far as her power and her value amongst these teams. It looks like Adro, the support Luna player, has reconnected, so as soon as he's good to go, looks like Jolim is good to go, and so is the Jellyfish, so we're going to resume here with game number 2 and into the laning phase. So, again, though, it is going to be very interesting to see how things shape up here. I mean, Magebane currently, he is headed towards the middle lane, actually. May eventually, go from here to run up top or something, but I'm not sure this is kind of interesting what Magebane is looking to do here. He doesn't have a ward on him or anything, so He's just quickly getting up here. The rest of the team's kind of following, a little bit behind, but H-Bane leading the way. It really doesn't seem like it may end up being anything as you see on the mini-map, but interesting there.
Yeah, now Dark Lady has been pulled regen herself. As I mentioned, that's something you do for short lane carries if they're all by themselves. And I expected to have the same thing from Magebane, which makes me wonder if they are going to lane Magebane in a different way. Maybe have him lane with a Luna and then Pebbles solo mid or something. Bubbles does have side lane items, of course, and yeah, I'm just not quite sure exactly what they're doing. They did this last time, though, where they roamed together and tried to look for an opening, and then actually they're warding the camp right there for Tempest. Now, I've actually been pointed out of a very cool ward that not only blocks that, but it also gives you vision of the rune. Not in the traditional spot where you usually place it, but it's actually like in the trees right here. And it makes it very, very difficult to counter because usually the only place you can counter it is by throwing the counter ward, which would also block your own spawn. Huh. Yeah, I can't exactly show you on my screen.
Yeah, I think I got
right
that
around
location. There. Yeah, right around here.
So that's one thing. Now this will still block the spawn, but obviously won't give you vision of the runes. So yeah, right now Scar is playing without vision of the runes.
Yeah, that's a little bit. But again, maybe that. Okay, it is going to end up being a Pebbles Luna mid, Bubbles top. Standard basically, exactly as I was getting to. So it does turn out to be standard in the end for our Legion team here, with the Magebane of course ended up going to the bottom. You talked about this middle matchup though. Okay, so now that we have it, the Luna Pebbles versus the Fate Engineer, it seems like you were giving the favorite in favor of Kali Karma and this Fate Engineer combination. Now that's not to say that either side can win, because of course you have to play it out obviously, but so perhaps Kali Karma has the edge, but we'll see. You know, a lucky catch from Luna Pebbles at the same time on specifically the Engineer could definitely be a kill for them. So need to be careful. Yeah, middle lane.
Bottom lane, Magebane versus Pharaoh. I do think that Magebane actually can do really well in this lane because you can play aggressively, and like he is right now. Pharaoh's also playing back with him and kind of trading some auto attacks and some chip damage with the Tormented Soul. But I really wish that the team would have given him some extra regen, like the Dark that he got here against the Bubbles. It would have made a world of a difference. Now, Magebane's already doing a good job, but it would have made him that much more aggressive in this lane. And this is a lane with Magebane you have to win early, in my opinion. So, I mean, he's still going to be doing fine, but I would have liked to see that. But the main action is, of course, going to be in the mid lane. Very aggressive mid lane versus another very aggressive mid lane. Yeah,
and you see everyone hitting level 2, except for Engineer. Well, there you go. So say that. So, all hitting level 2, this is where you can start to see a possible ability start being used, and really especially level 3. Is where those kills could definitely come out, depending on the positioning. So you talked about Magebane and how Pharaoh was even trading some auto attacks, but it's very risky to do against specifically in Magebane because that mana combustion. And you see right here, I mean, Pharaoh's completely out of mana. I'm sure he used 1 or 2 tormented souls, but you got to figure a good amount of that at the same time was the mana burn coming out from Magebane. So we are going to see some rune protection. It is going to be in favor of Luna, actually. She went top, guessed correctly. And that will be a double damage rune as the Engineer is going to come back to the middle lane as well. But this is definitely a chance now for our Legion side to maybe make something of this. Double damage rune, Luna is hitting pretty hard here. So
yeah, it's one of the better runes to get early on. I mean, actually all the runes are pretty great, except for like illusions and regen in a dual lane versus dual lane mid. Like haste is effective, Invis is like the worst. But yeah, it's a good rune. But the lane is pushing up mid, so she can't really utilize it as effectively as she would like to.
You talked about this top and how Dark Lady got pulled that regen. She's already used all of her trees, and now she does have the health potion, so in a sense she used the pulled up, but now she has a little bit of extra now to take advantage of when she feels necessary. But as far as how this is really breaking down, you have a Dark Lady who's currently 12-5 now against a 6-0 Bubbles, actually. So Dark Lady is having a pretty solid time here at the top lane against Baltazar. Playing that Bubbles. Meanwhile, in the middle lane, fades in a little bit of trouble. Power throw will connect the Chuck, also connecting Fade. One more auto attack. Yeah, it's going to be enough for the kill. Pebbles will fall shortly after, but Bloodlust did go in favor of Adro, playing that Aluna right before her teammate fell in Pebbles. So ends up being slightly in favor of the Legion team there.
Yeah, and you got the experience for that Pebbles as well. So definitely a good trade there for Team Scar. And yeah, the top lane, I'm not surprised at all though that Dark Lady is having a better having this good CS. It really doesn't surprise me. I'm actually a bit surprised that Bubbles is really kind of holding his own and applying lots of pressure here to Dark Lady. Dark Lady going back on him actually. Tempest looking for a gank perhaps. He's only level 4 though. I feel like that's way too early to gank. Now he did just use the Shell Surf on Bubbles and that could be their Q, but He showed himself. He's not going to get it. And like I said with Tempest before, every single time you gank like that and it's not successful, especially when you're this early on, it really does hinder his farm. So I don't like to see Tempest, Tempai, gank that early.
Not often you hear that word. Keeper running an Engineer actually at the bottom rune. They were trying to go for it. I don't think it... Oh, it did spawn, actually. It was a haste rune. Picked up an Engineer right there, so he'll use it a little bit to harass Keeper, but then eventually come back to the middle lane, but trying to help his teammate, just caught the tail end of that, but Fade gets picked off, so the hasted Engineer, unfortunately, not able to get back in time. She was distracted by the Keeper, and Legion team takes full advantage of that. Of course, they knew Engineer was down there, made it a 2 versus 1, and they get the kill onto Fade. So you talked about this again. At the very beginning, you might just favor the Fade-Engineer combination, but that's why you play at the lane. It seems like the execution has just been a little bit better for Scar. And they're now definitely winning this lane here. You have a Pebbles who's over 300 gold per minute now. He just got his boots delivered. And then you have a Fade who is struggling to stay at that 200 GPM mark as a result of what's going on. Bubbles in the top lane, one auto attack. Yes, it is going to be enough for the kill, actually. No take cover, so not able to avoid that. And Dark Lady will come through with the kill. Tempest did throw in some stuns there to assist. Nearly dying himself, but does stay alive at least.
Yeah, Bubbles went for the quote-unquote greedy route, I guess, of not getting your take cover, and I don't really agree with that in this lane. I do know that there are certain lanes where leveling up your Song of the Sea, you can go for a kill early on, like say against a Wretched Hag, because it's like, you know, you want to put that extra damage out there, and you don't want to level up the take cover. I think that in situations like that, it's fine, but against a Dark Lady, you can really screw up his attacks, actually, when he goes in there. And would have been able to live right there. Oh, the Shell Surf cancels the health potion that was just applied to Dark Lady. And that's actually a pretty big deal as he shows his discontent there for Bubbles. And Bubbles says heart.
Love ya. Yeah, that's a little love tap right there. Canceling the health potion. So again, in a sense, that's a lot of damage done. Because obviously it just prevented all that life from being healed up. And even used the 100 gold as a result of the health potion. Kind of wasted there. So yeah, very good Shell Surf coming out from Baltazar. Playing that Bubbles. I feel like I have to say it that way. You say a name like that, pretty epic. Mage been at the bottom lane, haven't focused too much on his creep farm, but he is, wow, 36-13 against a 20-3 Pharaoh. He is continuing to play aggressive. Meanwhile, the middle lane, though, Stalagmites will connect on the Fade. Here's a turnaround on the Fade. It looks like it is going to be enough as a Chuck throws her in the air. And again, I kind of caught that midway through. It seemed like Engie and Fade might have went for initiation themselves, but it went in favor again of the Pebbles-Aluna combo. Things seem to be coming out just a little bit better for our Legion team so far. Yeah, and one of the reasons why I love Pebbles so much is that in a dual lane like this, you can't go, like, they've killed Fade every single time. This is the initiating stunner. And it's not the same if you try to go on like a Pebbles because he's a strength hero that just has lots of HP. So he has the initiating factor. He has the good stun combination out in mid, like a hero like Fade, or, you know, if you compare it to something like a Magmus or a Meraxis. But he's also a tanky strength hero, so you can't really go on him. Your options are to go on Aluna, but if Aluna's playing well, then you can't go on anybody. So. Well, the side of Hellborn, yeah, Engineer Fade is a fantastic lane, don't get me wrong, but they're both targets that you can go on. Pebbles, I mean, I want to just I know it doesn't really matter for this because in the end it's a lot of magic damage coming out. But Pebbles does have very little starting armor. It only is I think that is the lowest in the game, 0.8 as you see right in here now. So very low armor, but yeah, being the strength hero, he's got the good life flow, and like I just stated, especially with an NG Fade combination. I mean, you're looking at a magic damage burst, not physical damage burst by any means early on. So if it's something like an Armadon, maybe, or Demented Shaman for that matter, maybe it could be a little bit more powerful against Pebbles, but not this combination. So yeah, the fact that Pebbles right now, he's 2-1-1. He's farming 325 gold per minute. Wow, yeah, big initiation at the top lane. Dark Lady in a lot of trouble. The root already hitting. Dark Lady trying to get away. Nice green star from Aluna. Gonna set up the kill. The Tempest ultimate gonna pull them all three together, but there's no support. And what could have been a huge turnaround chance for the Hellborn team, absolutely nothing will happen in the end. Oh, if just a single port came in from Fade or Engineer or even Pharaoh. Obviously, Pharaoh's out of mana, but that just sucks because that was a big chance to turn that around at least. Yeah, and that is a result of too many deaths in mid. Like they don't have money. They don't want to spend what little gold they have on TPs. Here comes a dive from Magebane, gets a solo kill onto the Jellyfish playing that Pharaoh. So Magebane playing this lane to perfection, and has 51 CS under his belt as well, and didn't even get pulled regen. So Jolum playing this. I'm not sure if it's Jolum or Yolum, but either way, blue player is playing this well. the blue player, Magebane, doing a pretty good job.
I'm gonna get spammed in 6 minutes.
Oh, of course, of course. It's YOLO. Yeah,
I think it is YOLO.
I want to say it is
I think that
YOLO.
the J's in a lot of those countries are like Y sounds. Like Yeppe Jensen or Haxeren is Yeppe.
Or Yeppins.
Yeah, exactly
Not
like
Yeppins.
that.
Pebbles actually in a little bit of trouble here. There's an Invis Engineer. He's on level 5, but still, Fade and Engie could definitely combo for a kill. I don't know, though, because, again, you made the point. He's being a strength. He has over 1,000 life already with those Steam Boots on strength. There's the Burning Shadows,
Look at
but
that.
0 follow-up.
Well, look at that's a level 3 Burning Shadows. Look how much damage it did.
Yeah.
Now, of course, he did mention he did just pick up his Steam Boots, but even then, yeah, so he's a tanky strength hero that has so much strength in initiation as well.
Magebane, the fact that he is having the good time too. It's not as radical by any means as last game, but it is definitely still a lead here for Scar, a Legion team. And looking very good for them earlier on. Keeper the Force, he is back at the top lane. He doesn't have the root cooldown just yet, up in 4 seconds, actually. And, Dark Lady may be in a lot of trouble. Alme realizing now that he's in that trouble. And Magebane actually jumps in. He will take the stun, but there's the root from Keeper, guaranteeing. I don't even think it was necessary as the bubble shell surf connected anyways, but still, they get the kill into Dark Lady yet again. So Alme, as good of a start he had, it is starting to slow down a lot now. He's only farming at 244 and going down because of that death. And we are going to most likely see our Legion team also make a push up here, especially with Magebane joining the party. He's even going to look to take the next creep wave, so possible tower kill.
I mean, I'm actually very, very impressed with the way that Scar is playing. Like, I'm very impressed. Their movement around the map is phenomenal. Literally, the second that Keeper the Forest ultimate is off cooldown, he even planned it because he's walking up there and says, you know, I'm going to have this. By the time I get up there and by the time it's a good time to go, I'm going to have this ultimate ready to initiate on them. So their movement is just fantastic. And then after the gank, they get a tower on top of that. They port back. They're still out farming everybody on the Hellborn team. They're just looking really, really good.
Yeah, they are. They are. Like I said, that first game, they looked very good. And here they are in game number 2, playing very well as a team. So right now at 11 minutes in a bout, again, it's not like last game by any means, but it is still a pretty respectable lead for our Legion team. Dark Lady once again may be in some trouble up here. Bubbles, Magebane, and Aluna going to go for kill. There's the Aluna stun. Magebane jumping in. The Shell Surf Song of the Sea, a little bit too late, though. And Dark Lady will be fine. So that time the execution just really wasn't there. Magebane sticking around quite a while. Fade's going to open, though. And actually, Magebane is in a lot of trouble here. Fade will fall, or Magebane will fall, excuse me. There's that Burning Shadows playing a role, as we talked about.
Yep.
Magebane doing a lot of damage to himself as a result. And now Dark Lady's chasing. We do see Aluna porting out. Bottom lane in the meantime, the tower is going to be aggressively pushed by Keeper Pebbles. And those are some illusions, I guess, but the tower is going to fall in their favor, so Scar still gets something out of it. And now you look at the 7,000 plus gold lead, and there's a portal key on Pebbles.
Yeah, I mean, you can think at first, like, what was Magebane thinking, staying up there for so long, being aggressive? Fade wasn't on the map, but they also had the push bottom, so it's always a nice strategy to, you know, take the attention away from a push like that if you know that your deaths will be minimal. Now, obviously, you don't want to die on Magebane, but it did pay off because you had a great push there right there. 7K gold lead already. And that was actually a misplay by Aluna to start it all off. She could have used her red stun to get a longer duration of a stun onto Dark Lady initially. And had that happened, she wouldn't have gotten the charging strikes out because Bubbles would have ported in with a Song of the Silent, or Song of the Sea to silence Dark Lady. And then, of course, Magebane would have jumped in and used the mana rift, what have you. So a little bit of a misplay there by Aluna.
Yeah, so perhaps that's why it's a little bit of a delay from Bubbles, maybe even expecting that. But in the end, you know, you're still looking at, again, that 7,000 gold lead. In fact, the tower push will continue. Keeper the Forest going in the middle lane now. He has the Ring of Sorcery and boots. He has to have, yeah, he has 1,800 gold saved up, actually. So could be the next item. Portal key. Could just go for the Astrolabe. We'll see where he goes. Anyways, middle tower dropping quickly. Pebbles will jump on a Tempest with that new portal key. Tempest barely staying alive. Gets that Tempest ultimate off, but in jumps Bubbles. Cancels it immediately. The Tree Root coming out as well. They're trying to chase that Engineer, and actually a double tap coming out for Baltazar there. Playing that Bubbles. There's a chuck in the air from Pebbles, actually. He'll fall, though, as Alme jumps in out of nowhere. Gets a double tap just like that. The Kelpid holding them in place. So Hatcher coming out. That Fade goes down. Pharaoh is also falling pretty quickly right here. Barely staying alive. Dark Lady realizing now she needs to run as well. Will Magebane blink here, get it 2 kills even if they're not careful. There's a slow one in Magebane. He'll blink in though. Pharaoh looks like should be fine. The red power throw connects Dark Lady, but Pharaoh is going to ultimately survive, and so will Dark Lady. So it didn't end up too horribly, I guess, for the Hellborn side, but in the end, Scar definitely coming out on top. And so despite a double tap for Alme right there on Dark Lady, now farming over 300 gold per minute, actually, you got a Magebane who's just pushing the 400 GPM mark now.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that was actually, I don't know, was it a 3-for-2 exchange?
I want to say 3 for 2, yeah.
And then they also got the tower in mid. So, yeah, again, Scar's looking pretty good. And had they had vision of, or Jala specifically, had vision of Pharaoh, then that would have been a very easy kill on the Pharaoh as well. But didn't just quite have the vision, so. But yeah, again, they're going to have map control now. They have 3 towers down as opposed to, no, 4 actually. 4 towers down as opposed to none for the Hellborn side. And, well, yeah, it's a huge gold lead as a result. Look at that, over like about 9,300 gold lead in favor of Team Scar. They also have all the map control to their side.
Yep.
Bubbles is going to have a portal key here pretty soon. Pebbles already has his, of course. Magebane, I think he has his Rune Cleaver here in just, what, about 600 gold. So things are looking up, and up.
Yeah, I mean, this goes back to where if this Legion side was more of a very aggressive nature team, if they even had something like a Zephyr, more of just a group and push, then I would honestly still feel okay for Quali Karma, especially with that Dark Lady having around 300 gold per minute. But simply the fact that they're going up against a Magebane, another very respectable hard carrier himself, who's farming even 100 GPM plus more than Dark Lady at this point, is really what's the scary point here for Quali Karma. Ghostic's in a little bit of trouble playing this Keeper, as he's kind of just chilling in the Nature's Veil. So unless they have Dust or anything like that, I don't know if they're going to be able to get a kill right here, and actually he'll portal key away, realizing he was in a little bit of danger right there. So, by the way, Keeper does have his portal key, just like Pebbles, as we see. And another 1,700 gold saved up actually on Bubbles here. So, would it be surprised to see him also with a portal key here in the near future? And then you have the Hellborn team. I mean, again, Dark Lady not doing too shabby. She's doing her best working towards that Rune Cleaver you would expect. But other than that, nothing really standing out. I mean, Tempest the next one in line, but he's got Boots, Ring of Sorcery, and right now a Bracer. So trying to finish an Astrolabe earlier on, it looks like. So not really much initiating threat other than, I guess, well, they do got Pharaoh and Fates. Even without portal keys, they have some presence there, but still, they're going to need a lot more, of course. In fact, speaking of Pharaoh, he's going to be jumped by Pebbles. Bubbles with the follow-up. The Pebbles combination coming through. Chucks his teammate in the air. And again, gets the kill. Again.
Yeah.
Set that one up.
Ah, there you go. Magebane, I think, has his Rune Cleaver now.
Yeah.
I want to say that he has the other broadsword on
does,
there.
yeah.
Yeah, so that's good for him. And also another thing to think about is Bubbles just picked up his portal key as well. That's 3 portal keys, not to mention Magebane has his own blink, so it's basically like another portal key. So they have tons of initiation, and a global snipe from Aluna, the only one that will not have that portability. So, and another tower pushed, and that's more map control, more gold, 11,000, almost 12,000 gold lead here at 16 minutes.
Yeah, you know, of course, with that Rune Cleaver pickup, the first thing I like to look at is the stacks and whatnot. There's a couple of stacks here in their own jungle. The Ancients right now is just a single going on. But there are a couple stacks in the jungle. Tempest in the meantime for the top lane. He just finished that Astrolabe, and he immediately gets ganked to the top lane as Magebane, Aluna, and Bubbles all join force to take him out. Keeper the Force was up here, but not even necessary. And Pebbles is actually roaming around with an Invis. He has a portal key up in 2 seconds. I don't know if he can kill Dark Lady, especially with the Mystic Vestments. But he's thinking about it with a power throw, actually. In fact, they're going to try to combo right here. There's the combo. The power throw connects. And the final auto attack. No, not enough damage. So good idea right there. But one auto attack away from the kill. Kexton going to connect Pebbles, but I think he'll kind of just walk away from this. And actually, Engineer's the one that needs to be careful. So.
Yeah.
But good attempt. Not enough for damage, though, for the kill, though.
Yeah, very, very, very close, actually. Yolum, I think, is what his name is look like he's going to go for a Frostburn, maybe switch that up into a Geometer's Bane and the Frostwolf Skull, which is very, very strong for Magebane. He did just buy a Mighty Blade. He could just be going also the safe route of a Shrunken Head. But I don't really feel like you need to go for a safe route when you're this far ahead. You can go for the stronger late game items earlier on. So it doesn't matter, though. I mean, look at this gold lead. It's pretty insane. Pebbles working on his Shrunken Head, presumably. And Bubbles now has a bound eye onto him given by Aluna. And I think it's by Aluna, but it doesn't matter. And they're going to be doing some counter warding now as well.
You see Fade roaming around right there. Little do you know, there was a Keeper nearby, also Invis, but Fade comes out of the Invis and will continue to stride around elsewhere. So she is doing her best to hit that level 11 mark at the very least, to become that much more impactful as you stress from time to time, Trell. But only level 9, so it's still a little bit of ways to go. Yeah, getting that Rune Cleaver on Dark Lady, another step in the right direction, but still not even having it yet. And even when she does, again, the wards, you mentioned this earlier, it's just very defensive-minded, as you would expect, because of the situation by Quali Karma. The resources are already running out. It's only 18.5 minutes in. So Definitely need a big fight for them to happen in their favor with just, you know, a big Tempest ultimate on top of NG Fade and whatnot. Even then, I mean, the synergy isn't really there for the big team fights, especially compared to the Legion team. It doesn't seem like that it's the best comparison. So I guess it's more about the pickoff game here for Call of Karma with your Pharaoh, your Fade, and whatnot. But even then, again, when you're so far behind, it's just that much more difficult to do. But Dark Lady, she is getting very close to getting her second broadsword here. And I believe they're going to have triple stack. No, it's only going to be double stack ancients right now. But she will get some nice boost in farm from that. But you compare it to a Mage Bane, is already at 454 and just going bigger and bigger here.
Yeah, he's already been utilizing that Rune Cleaver to just farm. And yeah, I'm very curious as to what he makes that Mighty Blade into. I think it could be an Ice Brand. I think it should be an Ice Brand, but again, it doesn't really matter. And yeah, Fade hasn't really been able to pick up a real item. Sitting at 1,800 gold, that's great, but Pebbles has his portal key for about, what, 7 minutes or so, and has already put it to good use.
Oh yeah, several times in fact. So yeah, the 400 GPM mark for him. In fact, they're gonna try to maybe gank somebody at the Hellborn Ancients, but Tempest will fall back. And instead, they'll just go ahead and gladly take these Ancients. Do they have a Bound Die? Yes, they do. Bubbles has a Bound Die. He portal keys and spots out a Ward of Sight that was placed here on the uphill. So now they're blind even more is Call of Karma. So again, you got to bring Cleaver. And actually, a nice portal key pickup on Fade. That's definitely, again, a good item for them to have. Helps with that initiating, more so ganking presence for sure. But still quite a ways to go. But Darkly, again, with it getting that Rune Cleaver, so we'll keep an eye on that gold per minute now and how that does increase. It looks like Mage Bane is going the safer route. You're talking about that. You know, he kind of like maybe the Frostburn choice a little bit better. But he is going to be going the Shrunken Head. He just got the Warhammer on top of the Mighty Blade.
It's really good specifically for Engineer and Dark Lady. Like, they silence you, Engineer. You can walk to and fro through that energy field and not have to worry about a thing. And of course, Dark Lady, you get silence. You can still blink around by activating that Shrunken Head. So it's definitely the safe pickup, no doubt about it.
Yeah. And nothing wrong with that. You want to really, you know, put yourself even in a better spot. So of course, their game to decide after all. Being up 1-0 here in this best of 3, and in a very comfortable spot here in game number 2. Again, basically, you're competing for a chance to qualify. The winner of this will qualify for that main event here in the Sound Blaster Heroes League, where those teams will then be competing for that $40,000 prize pool and prizes and money, sponsored by Sound Blaster, and also you can see Newegg, as well as the what is that? I believe they're a Russian company. Not sure how to pronounce, but anyways, those guys right there, that logo that I'm kind of highlighting on your screen. So, shout out to all these guys. So yeah, what did I just see? Oh, Arcana just purchased on Keeper. So either that Resto Stone or Hellflower. See more so a Resto Stone, especially against a Tempest usually, from Keeper, but his choice. Shrunken Head should be finished here on Pebbles now, as well as Mage Bane actually, in the very near future. And maybe that's really what they're waiting for to kind of group up and push here with the lead that they have. So we'll see if that happens.
Yeah, Mage Bane, I feel like, yeah, he should have it about, 230 gold or 260 gold or something like that. And again, Fade does have level 11, but they're trying to create some space for Dark Lady, and that's great. Her farm is getting better, getting there. She needs a Shrunken Head of her own, really, to withstand anything coming out from the Legion team. But it's not going to have that for quite some time. It's going to need another 2,400 gold or so to get that. And they can't really fight, I feel, without that. And I feel like, you know, with the big item pickups that you have coming out from Legion, the Shrunken Head, hopefully soon for Mage Bane's sake, you can just kind of march in there and not worry about a damn thing if your team's scarred.
Oh, Mage Bane blinking in very aggressively right here, but Pebbles with a follow-up as Darkly took the bite. The Tempest ultimate is going to be used right there. Darkly going back in, but Darkly might want to be careful. She will end up falling, but so will Mage Bane actually, so it ends up being a 1-for-1 right there. Tempest is going to go down as well, make it a 2-for-1. Double tap coming out for Pebbles. Fade is level 11. He is up here with Engineer, but it is just them 2 against 4, so not going to dare to open. Yeah, that was a very interesting decision there at the very end by Dark Lady to kind of stand her ground and at least help set up her turnaround kill on a Mage Bane. Did ultimately cost her a life, but there was also a great response from Pebbles onto the Mage Bane bait there initially, as he jumped in and comboed on the 2. So it works out a little bit better for our Legion side, and they are very likely going to get the last Shadow Tower now as a result of this. More bad news for Call of Karma, unfortunately.
Yeah, there was a little bit of a YOLO move there by Jolum, or Yolum. YOLO.
Oh, snap.
And I don't know, it was kind of an aggressive blink. He did have Pebbles right next to him. But they just simply didn't know the Dark Lead was there. Had he had a Shrunken Head, it would have been a completely different story. Here comes the initiation onto Pharaoh. Pebbles blinking in, tosses him all the way back. Pharaoh with the backwards hook back on the Pebbles. And he's going to be fine for now.
Wow.
And he will be fine, so well played there by Le Jellyfish.
I really feel like Ghostic there on Keeper had a huge chance to root all three with the portal key jump in and get a great root off. I don't know if he just kind of felt that the support wasn't fully there, wouldn't have been there quick enough, so he figured not to go for it. But it seems like he had a couple of openings there to make that happen. So, but in the end, again, your team is up 16,000 gold and 9,000 experience, only 24 minutes in. Not a big deal. You got that Shrunken Head now finished on Mage Bean as well, so he's stressed. So that's of course a huge item for him. Yeah, and they continue to have the dominating map control. Now you see this ward aside placed by Calverx here near Kongor. This is the exact same place actually that was just countered by the Legion team. So always curious about that, but it is still up for now. So at least it is giving them some good vision. But Bubble's going to be nearby, and I don't know if they spotted it, but they are going to go for Kongor here. You do see the Hellborn team quickly heading over though. But again, can they fight this? I don't know. And actually, ooh, Dark Lady going the Ice Brand.
Yeah.
Passing up the Shrunken Head.
Yeah, it doesn't really want it. And I think it's fine, honestly, in her sake. It's going to be, oh, here we go.
Yeah, Fade is like, guys, I think they could see me.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he was standing right on top of Ward aside. He had no clue. His ultimate, of course, was off cooldown. Unfortunate for him, and that's going to guarantee Kongor now.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think for Darkly not going to Shrunken, it's more of, yeah, you're not going to be able to get out of the key with the Force ultimate, but I feel like regardless, you're not going to have enough damage anyway. Like you're going to have that snare at least to keep people down, and she needs that. But again, I feel like it doesn't really matter at this point. Look at the lead that Scar has again, over 17,000 gold, about 11,000 experience. It's just immense lead. It really is. And now they have a Token of Life onto their Mage Bane.
Yeah, so of course he could just play balls to the walls here. He could just sit in the front lines out on top of the Shrunken Head. He's not really too worried about getting jumped on because they would need to use nearly everything to even kill him in the first place, and then, well, he's coming right back up. So this tower is going to start dropping here already in the base, only 26 minutes in. You see the turret coming out from Engineer, trying to cause some issues there, slow it down as much as possible. They got some okay creep clearing potential between Engineer and Pharaoh, and really. And actually, that is going to be enough to get Scar right now, at least, to fall back somewhat. Not necessarily go for that final push here, but again, Mageman with that token, maybe wait till 2 to 3 minutes left, and then make another push. Really go cutthroat. But they are going to ultimately fall back and allow a little bit more time here for Call It Karma to get some more farm. But again, it's just, what do you get here if you're Call It Karma? That's the game-breaking difference. It's going to be a lot more than just items, that's for sure.
Well, I think if it is any item, it needs to be the portal key onto Tempest. And, regardless of Mage Bane being able to counter the ultimate, Keeper being able to counter the ultimate even through Shrunken Head, that's not even an issue at this point because you're never going to farm that if you're Tempest. You still just need to go and try to get that lucky ultimate, in my opinion. That's maybe the one opening they have. Mage Bane, I feel like, really needs some lifesteal because he has been doing a lot of farming in the jungle, but as a result, his life pool is very low because he can't get that life regen up high enough. So I think he needs to get some kind of lifesteal here.
Denied.
Another deny, and actually, that's only the second tower to fall on the side of Scar, and I believe both of them were denied. I remember the top one also getting denied. So, yeah, it's just adding even more insult to injury. The fact that only 2 towers have been destroyed, both of them being denied, when their whole outer towers have been killed themselves. I don't know if they've even denied any of their own towers. So, even helping that gold momentum that much more in favor of the Legion team, of course. Noticing some more item pickups. You got your tablet onto Pebbles. Keeper's got to be getting pretty damn close to that Restoration Stone again.
Yeah.
That's what I'm guessing, at least. This is what they're going to go for. Our first Arcana picked up by Baltazar, playing the Bubbles. And there's a Firebrand on a Mage Bane. Of course, Geometer's Bane, especially on Mage Bane, a very powerful item for him. And you do got Dark Lady trying to finish off her Frostburn, though. I just saw her purchase a Quick Blade. So, trying to finish that. The Barbed Armor onto Pharaoh, and 1,500 gold saved up on Tempest. So you talked about the portal key possibility. Mage Bane going to blink it right here. Engineer finding himself in a very odd spot. He does have some support nearby, but there's also a lot here for the leader side. Nice keg stun, actually, coming out from Calbergs. But here comes Tempest, trying to set up a turnaround. No, Mage Bay got a shrunken head, actually, and continuing to chase. Pebbles will jump in. Tempest is going to fall right here. Absolutely nothing he can do. Darkly gets caught up to the side, actually. He's going to blink away with a turnaround. But a great roof on Keeper of the Forest. He puts out the cover of darkness, but it just doesn't matter. They were in her face. Down she goes, and Call of Karma is just getting picked off one by one. Pharaoh says, I have a barbed iron. Don't attack me. They don't care about that, though. They take him out anyways. Down goes was Engineer, I believe. Well, that just fell apart quickly.
Yeah, you lost 4 for nothing, and you have a Token of Life up onto Mage Bane still for another 3.5 minutes. So this is looking pretty grim for Call of Karma, and I gotta say, really freaking well played by Scar. Now, not to discredit Call of Karma by any means, but I really feel like this is just more of Scar just playing well. Like,
yeah.
They're really playing at a level, even if this was a top-tier team. I really feel like we would see a similar result. They're just really playing well, banging on all sides.
Yeah, again,
series.
kind of evidence for that is that, again, you got. I know that's we're talking about Han Tour, and this is a Sound Blaster League, but obviously you can reference Han Tour where Scar is 11th place currently in the standings going into these cycles, and then Call of Karma is 12th place. So, I mean, they're right there neck and neck in the standings as well. So, again, you would figure, if anything, a very even matchup. But no, it really has been. Obviously, Game 1 was just complete dominance by Scar, and now here we are in Game 2. It's been for the most part dominance, and Call of Karma has kind of been a team where maybe going into Han Tour, we maybe expected even a little bit more out of it, I want to say, because they really have been bouncing back and forth, haven't really had those big victories here, and here they're going to lose what could very likely be their second straight qualifier in a row here in the finals. For the Sound Blaster Heroes League. Last week to Pudge, now this week maybe to Scar, but actually Aluna's going to get picked off there, so it kind of shows you a little bit of Call of Karma. If they kind of connect, they can definitely make some kills happen, but it, oh, I'm freaking out here. That was on an Aluna, though, let's be honest.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if they know how, unfortunately, far behind they are. Mage Bane does pick up a Frostburn, so going to want the Frostburn at least until he splits it up, and that'll be good for him. Give him a lot more movement speed. A good snare on there as well.
Yeah.
And they still have the Token of Life onto him for a minute 30, and they could just force the issue. Like, yeah, Luna's dead. Well, she's actually only dead for another 10 seconds. And they could just push right here, right now.
Yeah. In fact, Hellflower just finished on Bubbles, and that's definitely a go-to item as far as really grouping up and making that push happen. So a little bit at the bottom, but again, it's only 3 of them currently. In fact, Mage Bane jumps in right there onto Fade and does plenty of damage. There's that portal key on Tempest. So here you go. Banana for the win. He's got a portal key now.
It also makes a statement of how comfortable Scar is playing this game and just this lineup that they have by picking Mage Bane into the Fade. I still think about that. I'm like, that's still such a risky play, but they're so confident in their strategy and the way that they set up their lanes and whatnot, and just their overall team play, that they're not scared of that at all. And it really hasn't been that big of an issue.
Yeah, we did see that one fight at the top lane, and that did do plenty of damage to kind of give you an idea of what we're talking about. But yeah, you're right. It definitely hasn't been an issue for the most part. Here they go. They are going to eventually all group up now. 30 seconds about remaining on the token. So they may get one creep wave push right here. Mage Bane knows that. He's basically saying, go ahead and jump me and kill me. I'm fine with that. He's going to sit up here in the front lines, take out the tower. In the meantime, Pebble says, I'm tired of waiting already. He goes in, takes an Engineer just like that. Here comes the Tempest Ultimate, but the root coming out now. Was a decent timing on the Tempest Ultimate, actually. And Darkity will jump in. She'll get one kill to Pebbles with her Mana Rift, doing a lot of damage. Will tear through Tempest, gets the Kona Fade, and Mage Bane is a wrecking machine. 10 seconds left with the Token of Life. He might just want to die right here, honestly. Yeah, he should have suicide. Okay, so he says, screw it, I'm going to go ahead and die. 4 seconds left. That's pretty good for him. Fade jumps in. Burning Shadow's going to do plenty of damage. Mage Bane is going to start dropping a little bit. Darkly going for the kill. And Aluna, actually. Aluna going to get talboted away by herself. She'll be fine. Mage Bane now going for the counter. It's just a 2 versus 3 right now, by the way. Making it 2 versus 4, actually. Well, now it's a 2 versus 3 as Fade goes down. But Mage Bane is just a little bit too strong for Call of Karma to handle, so they will fall back. So, I mean, in the end, they still have their racks up, actually. So, well, at the bottom at least. The top, of course, has been dead now for a little bit, but I guess that's the good news, but still.
Yeah, Fade bought out there as well, I believe.
Yeah, he did.
And Mage Bane just, I mean, look, he's nearing 600 gold per minute now, and there's very, very little that, I mean, Darkly is doing her best, but it's just simply not enough. She just doesn't have as much farm. She can't do as much with her items. Pebbles is nearing that Hellflower as well. Bubbles has his. refresher was, I want to say that the keeper's second ultimate wasn't used.
No, I don't think it was.
Yeah, because it's off cooldown, but the restoration stone is not. So interesting, right there.
Yeah, I'm not sure what exactly happened, but I don't believe he got the. I know the first one canceled the Tempest ulti initially, but I don't remember seeing the second one after that. Anyways, Demonic Breastplate is going to be finished here by Magebane, by the way. Well, okay, he has the Soul's Bulwark and the Warp Cleft at least, so just about finishing a Demonic Breastplate.
Yeah.
And he'll have that next to work with in another team fight. So we'll see if Scar goes the safe route here, if they just wait for another Kongor, or if they just say, screw it, we just know we can push him to the base. Seems like it is going to be the latter, at least for now. Magebane's going right for the base, and Pebbles is following him, so...
yeah,
thinking about it.
The Tempest ult is down. Now, you don't have double ult from Keeper, but when they don't have all the resources they can use on the Hellborn team, then they really can't win a fight. They need everything. And knowing that the Tempest ultimate is down, and whether it might be a good Tempest ultimate or not, because you have so many stuns and whatnot and things that cancel it, like the Keeper of the Forest ultimate did last fight, it still is a very necessary tool to win these team fights. Magebane has a double damage now, by the way.
Yeah, good teamwork right there. Keeper of the Forest will jump in with the Rip. Pebbles with the follow. Magebane jumping it as well, of course. Not going to use his Mana Rift just yet, I don't believe. All right, yes, he uses it right there. Pharaoh dying on top of Dark. The Engineer going down. Fade already dead. Hat-trick coming up for Yolim. And I think the game is going to be officially over now. GG well plays are being called. That will do it. Looks like Scar is going to be moving on here in the Sound Blaster Heroes League. And what I mean by that, well, they qualify for the main event here. So congratulations to them. Again, a very impressive and a very dominating performance coming out by Scar here, and a team that we really haven't paid too much attention to, specifically with Han Tour. But again, they're ranked number 11 in the standings in Han Tour going into this cycle that we're currently at. So clearly a team that maybe we need to start paying a little bit of attention to. But yeah, good win for them, and I'm sure they're happy. Call It Karma will have to try yet again to qualify, as that's now back-to-back finals that they've lost in. So
yeah, I'm looking forward to watching them again. Now, they still did qualify as I'm looking at the brackets for Diamond in the next cycle. So they didn't get taken out, it looks like, by TTE Sports in the lower bracket. But I'm very curious to see how they perform from here on out.
Yeah. On that note, Call of Karma got knocked down by Domain of Pain, actually, in this Diamond cycle. So they will be goals once again in the next one. So kind of just mixing Han Tour in right there. But anyway, so a big win for... whatever, again, Scar was their tag. Those guys, shit happens was what they know by somewhat.
Cut for Bieber.
Whatever you want to call them. Congratulations to them. Call It Karma, again, they will need to go through another trek here. I wouldn't be surprised if they ultimately do qualify. There are still 4 more qualifiers left, and this is definitely a team that can for sure, but it's got to be a little bit frustrating, back-to-back now. But again, they get another pair of headsets, so, from my understanding
Can't
at least.
complain.
So at least they get something out of it, right? All right, but... yeah, I think that pretty much will wrap up our coverage for today. Obviously, started things off with a podcast here, and then having fun with that finals cast. But I think we're going to be good to go to move things on, and then eventually head into tomorrow. Obviously, where Han Tour Cycle number 4, the Diamond Division specifically, that continues.
Will be a lot of fun.
It is going to be a blast. And in fact, just tomorrow's matchups, just real quickly. I believe we plan to start things off with Complexity versus Q Squad from the losers bracket, so a hell of a matchup there. And then we'll go and cast the winners finals after that of Trademark versus State Green, of course.
Should be awesome.
A fun weekend. Then obviously Sunday we had the losers finals, then eventually the grand finals. It is going to be a blast. Do not miss any of it. That all kicks off tomorrow at 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 p.m. Eastern, 1800 Central European Time.
Yeah.
Any final words, Droff?
Well played by Shit Happens / Cut for Bieber / Scar / Jolim's team. Really well played. Like, I'm very, very impressed.
Yeah, they were a lot of fun to watch. And again, hopefully the time comes in the future where we get the chance to cover them a little bit more to see what they're ultimately about. But they're going to be in Diamond next division, so maybe. But that is going to officially wrap up coverage for the day, ladies and gentlemen. So again, tomorrow, tune in. Han Tour coming back at you. One more big shout out to Sound Blaster, especially for putting this event together. Without them, this event wouldn't even be here. It is awesome. It really is. Them putting the money and the effort and whatnot into this. Sivo as well. They're actually running it through them. So big shout out to those guys and whatnot. But our coverage for today is over. Han Tour tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen. Until then, you can follow this guy at Trelfon,
And at Break CPK.
at Honcast, the Honcast Twitter and Facebook and all that jazz, honcast.com. Check out the top 10 community rankings that just came out, hontour.com. Always daily information and news posts on there amongst everything else. Until tomorrow, though. We'll see you then. Have a good night, guys. On Tour continues tomorrow.